Welcome to a beautiful fall day. As you can see behind me, it is golden. The leaves have fallen and are falling. It is just such a lovely time of year. Now, in America, it is also a stressful time of year because we are so close to the election. So tensions are high, stress levels are high, people are fighting, there is unknown going on. And this is not something that is uncommon in the homesteading and prepping community. It's ramped up right now because of the election coming, and everybody is saying if this person gets elected, the world is going to burn. If that person gets elected, that they're going to wipe out an entire race of people. And, you know, quite honestly, those things do happen in civilizations. That does happen. It's not impossible. So I am not by any means mocking the fact that people are very, very heated and have very, very heightened emotions and perspectives on this topic. And I don't want to be lukewarm because that's just annoying. You know, have an opinion, people. You know, I do have opinions, but at the same time, I watch both sides. I'm not as middle as some people probably are, but it's just a clown show. It really is. There's not one specific person that I believe is going to come into America and be our savior. It's just not the case. At least nobody of this world, if you know what I mean. Regardless of what your religious beliefs are, you probably have politics of some kind. And that is a common idea in homesteading and prepping. Oftentimes, these channels will go from looking after animals and tips on homesteading just straight into politics. And it's not more apparent in other times as it is in an election year, especially now since we're so close. So I wanted to take this time to not come against the people who are alerting us and saying, warning, warning, watch out for this, get your supplies, get all your stuff. I don't want to come against those people because I think they have a very, very good point and a very good and right place in the homesteading and prepping community. Now, I'm making this video because I think that I try to go more on the side of, all right, everybody, take a deep breath, in and out, and let's just do the next right step for our own individual selves and our own individual family. What is the next right step for you as say you are a bachelor in his 30s or his 50s, is not going to be the next right step for me as a mom of many little kids and a wife and trying to just start from the ground up. Some things are universal. So being prepared is one of them. Being wise and looking around and surveying the political climate of whatever country you are in. Those things are, of course, a given. But not everybody can just come out of the city and move into the country. That's great advice. That is excellent advice. And I would hope that people do remove themselves from the dangers of the city and move into the country. But there are so many other factors involved. Like, what if you have a child with somebody else and you have a court order where you cannot take that child into another state because your agreement is that you both have shared custody and you have to stay within a certain amount of distance from one another. That's just one example of many reasons why somebody literally cannot move into the country and take their loved ones with them. Living out in the country and going off grid and preparing and all of that stuff is great, but you have to count the cost for yourself. Now, some people will say, oh, I can't because of this and because of that. And to that, okay, well, you're just trying to justify, just say what you want. Just say, you know what, that's a great idea. I do see the wisdom in that. I don't want to. I'll take the risk. Just say it. You know, don't come up with a bunch of excuses. And that's fine too. You want to do that? You enjoy whatever happens to you in this highly populated city. It's fine. You're a lot better off if you live in town rather than the city. You're way better off if you live in the town versus the city. And I'm thinking the difference between, you know, maybe suburbs versus New York apartments. All right, that's a big difference. Let's call it even the suburbs of Michigan versus New York apartments. That's a big difference. Now, you might have seen the thumbnail and you might have been interested at the different people that I have chosen to talk about as examples. Don't come for me if I am talking about your favorite homesteading YouTuber. These are all people that I think have wonderful traits, wonderful qualities, and I want to actually address something I heard somebody else say in a different channel, that they used to look at homesteaders videos and follow along until these homesteaders got so political. And that's fair. That is very fair. But I don't think we should throw out the baby with the bathwater. I understand having to take a break from watching somebody who's constantly saying doom and gloom, everything's gonna burn, hide your kids, hide your wife, come out, like just hide in a hole and everything is gonna be taken from you and you're gonna have to eventually guard your garden with your life. Okay, I get it. That's a lot. And having to take a step back from that and just go like, whoa, okay, I'm overwhelmed. I am stressed. I feel anxious and tense. Let me take a step back. Let me breathe. And let me think about this for a little while and then see what I can do based off of wisdom and rational judgment, not based off of fear. But those people who are sounding the alarm are 100% necessary for this community, because people like me, if I focused on that stuff, I am very sensitive. I'm a weenie, okay? I admit it. I am a weenie. And I need to have peace and calm in my already chaotic life. I'm just not in a season right now where I can say, look at how they're poisoning our food supply. Look at how they're taxing us to the hilt. Look at all these different things. Like, those videos are going to show up on my channel as we get into that, but I can't only focus on that for my own well-being, because I spiral and I fixate. That is a me problem, not a them problem. And maybe you are the same way too. Maybe you watch those channels and you get sucked in, and then after a while you're holding on so tight to everything you have that it's not a good life. Ultimately, we have to balance what is healthy for us, and that means understanding what's going on in the times we're in, or foreseeing what could happen in our future based off of past events, whether it's our society's past events or others, because you should always learn from history. Balancing that with what is good for me right now. What can I handle right now? Now, about 3 or 4 months ago, I swallowed a watermelon seed. So especially at this particular time of my life, I've got hormones. I've been upset over nothing. Just so sad. And it's so easy for me, especially at this time of my life where I'm more vulnerable. I just am more weepy. I'm more easily anxious. I don't want to be that way, so I have to guard myself and guard the things that come into my world. And you can do that no matter what season of life that you are in. It's okay to take a step back and be like, whoa, so many politics. I just want to focus on chickens. And that's okay. There are amazing Just Chicken channels here on YouTube. And it's everybody's right to say, hey, I don't want to watch those channels. So I'm not saying that you have to watch them. But what I am saying is that I want to acknowledge that they absolutely have an important place, because we need the people sounding the alarm. So let's get into specific channels. Let's call them out by name. Let's start with An American Homestead, Zach. He has evolved from back in the city. I remember watching his videos over 10 years ago, and he was in, I don't remember if this is an American Homestead channel or his other channel. It was a room of some kind, and he was sitting at a computer desk, and I believe he was either in the city or in town of some kind. This was before he even moved. So I remember seeing him from back then and watching him go from a completely bare land to all of the things that he and his family have diligently worked hard, patiently for, and have built up in the meantime. And I think he has every right to start saying, look at you guys, look at what's going on with this world, get out now. I've had to take breaks from his channel because it's sensitive, okay? That's, again, a me problem, not a Zach problem. The areas that I think Zach has incredible strength in is being able to say it like it is. Because he doesn't care about offending people because he believes in what he's saying. I think that's what Zach is really good at. he's just like, here it is, this is why, and this is what you should do about it. And I think that that's everything you need to know. So let's talk about Appalacha'shomeasteadwithpatara. Homestead. I don't know if she pronounces her name Patara or Patara. You'll have to let me know in the comments. I just watched, what is it, like 6 or 7 of her videos, just trying to figure out how she pronounces her name. And I'm so sorry if I'm getting it wrong, but I know it's Appalachia, not Appalachia. I did pay attention to that. I looked at her first videos from 10 years ago when she started YouTube, and it really, same thing. It's chickens, it's how to candle eggs, it's here are some homesteading recipes, and she gets into why I homestead, why it's important. And I really like that, just like, here it is, here is what's going on, this is what we have to do about it. And I really like that she wraps it up in, here's what you can do about it. You just continue to do a little bit at a time. You continue to focus on your faith and rely on God and what's important. And even if you're not religious in any way, I think being able to find whatever it is that you need in order to take a step back and go, all right, focus on big picture. Let me just remember that this is my goal, this is what I'm working toward, and this is what I can prepare for in the meantime while we wait for whatever disaster comes to us, you know, for whatever that is. And so her videos as well, again, I'm more sensitive at this particular time in my life. It's just a season and it's an overarching theme in my life, but right now especially, and I need to just focus on my household and just trying to keep my hair brushed and my teeth brushed. I mean, and consistent bathing. That's where I am right now. But I'm not going to put that on her and say that she shouldn't focus just on this specific part of homesteading. She should do whatever she feels is necessary. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that she's there, and I appreciate the strengths that she brings. While it might not be a message that I can stomach all the time, it's something that I'm trying to listen to and trying to keep in mind and continue to decide what I think about it and, you know, take in what I like and let go what I don't. And she's got a lot of stuff I really, really like. All right, number 3, last one I'm going to talk about, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. Aren't they the cutest? Aren't they just, I mean, I remember the first video I saw, and it was Doug wearing some kind of a warm hat with ear flaps, or maybe Stacy was, and he was like pulling on her ear flaps, and he was being all kinds of obnoxious and zany. She was laughing. I mean, they were just so cute together. And I've seen their transformation over the years, as I'm sure you have too, that they went from, hey, this is what we did. We built a cabin with our bare hands with pretty much no experience prior. It's so relatable to the average person. Both of them have their own different strengths. They're both very unique in their personalities, and they have strengths and weaknesses that they balance out with each other. And I think that's the coolest thing. Now, lately, Doug has been incredibly political. And again, that's totally fine. It is difficult to, from all these different sources, to hear, and I know all of it. I don't know everything, but I've heard all of they're poisoning the water supply, they're poisoning the food supply, they're poisoning the soil, they're poisoning, like, I get it, okay? I've heard it from everywhere. And as a mom, in particular, it's very challenging because all of you moms out there will identify with the fact that you're darned if you do and darned if you don't. Going back to Doug, very political, talking about more of what they're doing to our food, what they're doing behind the scenes subversively. Zach does that too really well. Doug's ability to bring forth, hey, did you see this? You see what they're doing behind the scenes? Is excellent. And again, as a mom in the season that I'm in, sometimes I just have to unplug. Are you seeing the bugs that are, it's because my skin is as white as the sun, and just, I'm getting sunlight on me, and so they all are attracted to the lightest, whitest surface, which is my face. Let's see if that's any better. So while all of these people have started with calmer, more peaceful videos and topics, it has evolved to them being the voice in the wilderness, calling out, saying, warning, warning. And I think that's a natural evolution. I think that it is very organic and holistic and all the words, and it's good. I think ultimately it's good. And I can choose to either plug in or unplug. And sometimes I just need to have some videos saved in my watch later playlist that are just like, relax. Now, some value that I want to bring, other than just going on a long reason as to why these people are very useful and beneficial, I want to bring some value of things that you can do when you feel overwhelmed, because maybe you're like me, maybe not necessarily a weenie, but maybe you're somebody who is a little bit more easily overwhelmed, or maybe you're not in a position where you can move into the woods like I have. And, you know, that stinks, because I think that's the best idea, is to move out into the woods where you're a little bit safer. But I promise, even then, there's going to be something concerning and scary. Like right now, I live on just a 2-acre parcel. What I'm on right now is my 5-acre parcel. Behind that is my 2.5-acre parcel. We played a very expensive game of Monopoly and bought one at a time as we could afford it. But the one I live on now is a narrow 2-acre strip, and there's a dirt country road right in front of our land. So when we build a house on this narrow 2-acre strip, we have our garden here, we have our animals here. I'm still so close to the road that in the winter, people can absolutely see me from the road. That is a big concern to me. I think that's our weakest point. Even out here in the country, I am still scared and nervous because our garden is right here, and I have to think about, where am I going to put my root cellar? Where can we hide it where people won't know that it's a root cellar here? And what should we do for a house? Should we make it look like we have money? You know, because when you make it look really nice with really good clean finishes, I think you're a bigger target. Not saying that I have money. I live in a camper, for Pete's sake. If I had money, I would have a house. Should I make it look really nice, or should I make it look good enough? Which also translates to how much we're going to pay for property taxes, because the more we improve the property, the more we get taxed. But the fear still goes with you. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how far into the woods you live. If you are in the habit of being afraid, then you are going to have that no matter where you live, because wherever you go with you. So practice good habits and good mindsets now by taking control of what you can take control of. Don't leave it to the political figures of your day to determine how you live and what you do, which I understand laws, like tax laws, do affect how we live and what we do. But a lot of people, I've noticed, it's trending online, a lot of young people have taken the political climate as an excuse. Oh, well, we'll never own anything anyway, so I'm just going to put everything on a credit card. I'm going to take out all these loans, and, you know, they basically shoot their future. Really, they're not taking accountability for their life. They're justifying why they want to YOLO, just do everything. You know, you only live once, if you are not familiar with the term YOLO. And they justify their poor financial decisions and their poor health decisions because they just go, well, we can't do anything, you know, just gonna be what it is. I'll never own a house. I'll never own this. And let's not do that either, okay? Yes, where we live affects us, but we have a lot more control and autonomy, at least right now, may not be forever, but right now, to be able to take control of the things we can control, which is having self-control over your finances, over your health, over the people you surround yourself by. All of those things are things you can control. So let's all be very careful about criticizing anybody in your life who is sounding the alarm. You can overdo it, okay? I do want to point out, people overdo it. I have had conversations with people where I'm like, wow, I just met you and I just asked you, how's it going? And now I'm in this 45-minute conversation about, you know, Nasera and stuff, and I don't want to talk. I'm gonna go. Someone, what? Oh, someone's calling me. Bye. You know, I don't want to, like, don't be weird. We don't have to be weird either. Can we find a middle ground? Please. Let's be normal, but also not normal like normal society. Okay, just find a middle ground. I'm so tired. I need a break. See, that's where I can control myself and unplug from the internet. Again, I have the power. I am woman, hear me roar. I can turn off the phone. So anyway, I just wanted to bring you maybe a laugh, but some perspective as well, that I am so grateful for these people who are sounding the alarm. And I'm grateful for people like myself who do get easily overwhelmed and have and are able to bring the whoa, let's take a step back. Yes, they're poisoning our water. Yes, they're taxing us into poverty. Yes, all of this stuff is happening. And let's also take a break. Let's also focus on the little things like the bugs that you can see. I know it sounds so dumb, but the bugs you can see on the flowers that are outside your house. And take a step back to really disconnect from the outside world and reconnect to what's right in front of you. And I know we all know that, but we don't all do it. I'm looking at you, okay? I know we don't all do it, at least not all the time. Now, here's one more thing I want you to think about. For all of you who are saying, you know, you shouldn't be overwhelmed, you shouldn't be so sensitive. First of all, you're not the boss of me. But secondly, think about it this way, and that's okay you have that opinion. I won't be your friend because I don't want to be friends with somebody like that. But you have your opinion and you're entitled to it. We were not designed to have all of the bad news of all of human history, all of our past, our present, and our future coming at us 24/7 all of the time. Back when people had wars and famines and awful things happening in the world, they only could take so much. They only had so much information to process and go off of at one time. A soldier could not FaceTime his family from thousands of miles away in a war zone to his family in the United States or the UK and see them in their happy little house and then have to go back to war. They were able to be where they were and to put themselves fully immersed in that. So there wasn't this weird dichotomy of having this world over here, but then that world over there. Even when we had newspapers, you only had so much. There was only so many pages that they could print on and so many different stories that really made the cut. So we very recently in our human history have had what we have now. And it's so normalized that I would say most people don't see how this is affecting our bodies. Because our bodies, whether you think that you are a tough person and don't get affected at all by the news, you do. I'm sorry, you do. We're not immune to it. Whether you are like me and you need to take a, gotta take a step back. Or you're like my husband who'd be like, yeah, all right, what else? What else? Bring it on. You know, he's a warrior. I love him for that. I'm over here quaking in my boots. But even the warriors, they are affected too. It's negativity. All right, I'm not saying don't hear anything negative. Don't be in la la land. That's dumb. But also, it's affecting you. So keep that in mind. I don't think you should unplug 100% from what's going on. I don't think that's wise either. But keep in mind that this is a very new thing in human history to have it all the time, all at once. Well, I've already given myself almost 40 minutes of video to edit down to hopefully a manageable bite. And if you've made it this far, thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I wanted to give those thoughts for you today. And I don't really have an overarching, usually I like to give an overarching kind of moral of the story, like so this and so that. I guess today is just think about it. You know, the overall point is that the people who sound the alarm are wonderful, well, and good. I'm grateful that they're here. And I'm grateful you're here. And I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful. We're all happy. Happy? Happy.